The question isn't how Hitler lost the war. Every school textbook tells you that. The real question is, how was he ever this close to winning? By the summer of 1940, Adolf Hitler had achieved what seemed unthinkable. France had fallen in just 46 days. Much of Western Europe was under German control. The British army had narrowly escaped at Dunkirk. To many observers at the time, it looked like the war was all but decided. And then Hitler made a series of decisions. Each one seemed logical in the moment. Each one carried consequences he failed to fully consider. Together, they would help turn early success into eventual defeat. Dunkirk, the decision that let an army escape. In May 1940, over 338,000 Allied soldiers were trapped on the beaches of Dunkirk. German forces had surrounded them. Many German commanders believed one final push could destroy the British Expeditionary Force. Instead, a halt order was issued. This decision was influenced by multiple factors, including cautious advice from senior officers and Hermann Göring's confidence that the Luftwaffe could finish the job. That pause gave Allied forces time to evacuate. In what became known as the Miracle of Dunkirk, hundreds of thousands of soldiers escaped to Britain. Many of these troops would later return to fight in the liberation of Europe. On June 22, 1941, Germany launched Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. It was the largest military invasion in history. Early advances were rapid. German forces pushed deep into Soviet territory, but the campaign stretched supply lines and resources to their limits. Historians often point to this as one of Hitler's most critical strategic errors. Rather than focusing solely on Moscow, Hitler redirected forces toward Ukraine, prioritizing resources. This decision delayed the advance on the Soviet capital. When the push toward Moscow resumed, German troops faced severe winter conditions for which many were unprepared. The Soviet Union held and eventually pushed back. After Japan attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, the United States declared war on Japan. Germany was not required to declare war on the US. However, on December 11, 1941, Hitler did exactly that. This decision was influenced by ongoing tensions with the United States and expectations about Japan's role in the broader war. Many historians, including Brendan Sims and Charlie Laderman, consider this one of Hitler's greatest strategic errors. The United States had enormous industrial capacity. Once fully mobilized, American production of weapons, vehicles, and supplies far exceeded Germany's. In 1940, Germany attempted to gain air superiority over Britain. The Luftwaffe initially targeted RAF airfields and infrastructure. Britain was under intense pressure. However, after British forces bombed Berlin, Hitler shifted the focus of attacks towards cities. This became known as the Blitz. The change allowed the RAF time to recover and reorganize. Germany ultimately failed to gain control of the skies, and plans to invade Britain were abandoned. Hitler's decisions were not random. They often involved short-term gains that overlooked long-term risks. Another key issue was the system around him. Over time, dissent became dangerous. Many officials avoided contradicting him. This created an environment where critical feedback was limited. As the war progressed, this isolation contributed to increasingly flawed decisions. By April 1945, Soviet forces were closing in on Berlin. Hitler was in a bunker beneath the city. On April 30th, 1945, he died there. Germany surrendered shortly afterward. The regime that had once seemed unstoppable collapsed in just 12 years. Hitler's story is often seen as a warning, not just about war, but about leadership, decision-making, and the dangers of unchecked power.